Hello everyone, welcome back. Good evening. Once again, we are back with another IndiaSpark live talk show. This is Roopa Tanti, the founder of IndiaSpark. We have with us the eminent speaker for this talk show is Miss Jayita Roy. We welcome you onto the board, Miss Jayita.
Hi, good afternoon, Roopa, and good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be part of all of you today.
It's lovely to see you over this session, Jayita. Jayita is a deputy HR head of Vedanta Group, and Jayita is an international HR professional, ICF certified career, and a life coach, and a best-selling author also. It's an interesting, quality we could see in her. And coming to her academic and the professional career, she had masters in the business administration and quickly rose through the ranks where she had forged a formidable career for 16 years in various HR leadership roles over different fast-paced, industries across the globe market, covering areas like Middle East, Europe, America, and all over the Asia. So currently she is working as a deputy HR head of the Vedanta Group, and earlier she had been into the journey of ABB, Biocon, Bristol Myers, Squibb, AstraZeneca, and Tyco.
So the way I have always described myself, Roopa, is I come from a very, very small town. So I'm a small town girl with a lot of hard work, dedication, and with the right support at the right time, I have managed to had a very fast track career. Now, this book, what you are referring to, is a book about coaches. And along my journey being in HR for so many years, I have been coaching people from a very, very long time. However, I had never taken a formal education on coaching. And as and when I started my journey, I realized it is such an empowering and powerful medium to make people fulfill their own needs. So this kind of amplified my own desire to help people, and that's how I went about doing my formal education on coaching. And that's how even the book happened, because the book is a collection of 21 authors. Very pleased to be part of great names like Marshall Goldsmith, John Maton in the book. So this is about my journey as a career coach and a life coach from corporate world. And this book is just a part of that journey. So this is an interesting question. In fact, a question everybody asks. So from a productivity point of view, see, the way I look at it, it is always about how as an individual I'm taking it. If I decide to be productive, I can be productive even at work, I can be productive even at home. And if I decide the otherwise, I can do it either ways. So if we are committed to be productive, yes, the environment is different. We have to make sure our external environment or the home that we are operating it gives a bit of a professional feeling. So personally, what I do is I get up in the morning, I have my schedule, I dress up. I'm not on my pajamas, because if I'm on my pajamas, I will never get that feeling. That's how it works with me. So I always make sure that I'm in my formals, and that's how first thing I get a feeling that yes, office time starts now. So everybody has a different way of working, but this is something I had given my tips to a lot of people, and it's really working for them. So it's all about the mindset. I really do not see it really changes. Yes, of course, you need a remote area, you need a quiet place. You need to tell your family, which is very, very important, especially family people who are staying with their families. You have small kids, so you have to make sure that you have a space for yourself. And if you want to be productive, there is nobody in the world can stop you from being productive, whether you are working from home or working from office. See, my suggestion to all of you would be focus on what you are doing. If your current requirement from you is to make sure that you need to study well, you need to give your exams well, you need to score well, you please do focus on it, because this situation will get over, I'm sure, in a couple of months from now. But the period that you will lose out, maybe thinking, stressing up for yourself, what's going to happen in future, whether I will get a job, you are not going to get an answer because you are stressed and thinking about the future. But if you, in case, because of this tension, because of this stress, in case if it reflects on your academic score, you will never be able to undo that. So my suggestion to all the youngsters, if you are listening, I mean, all of you are listening to me, is focus on what you are doing. And also find out at the same time if there are companies who are offering virtual internship. I am aware of companies who offer virtual internship. Apply for that. Get some kind of an industry experience which will add on to your career portfolio when you apply for any job outside. So this is what I would suggest. Focus on what you are currently doing without getting too much of stressed. My personal take on it is that all of us know what we are good at. We do not really need anybody else to point it out, right? So we know, even if we don't know what we are good at least we know what we like to do. So, and if we know what we like to do, this is good enough. And in today's world, the internet is God. You have so much of free knowledge available, free of cost. If you feel that you wanted to improve your skill, you just have to go and type that particular area, that particular skill. You will get so much of information. You do not really have to pay to get more information, more skills. I know of kids of 7 years, 8 years. They look at YouTube and they are turning out mini scientists at their own home. So I'm sure all of us can do a lot of wonders. In terms of where you can exhibit this kind of a platform, what kind of platform? My answer would be again virtual. There are a lot of those, startups, small companies, freelancers who are doing a lot of those innovative things to keep themselves occupied. You just have to tag along, but yes, you need to do a bit of a research to see if this is what you really wanted to do. And sometimes you probably have to do a bit of a hit and trial to see this is exactly what interests me. I think so personally, it will continue. And it is not only from an education system point of view, the whole world, including the corporate sector, a lot of those areas, it will, because people have now realized, organizations have realized, educational institute has realized that this is such a productive way of utilizing people's time and their resources. So I definitely see this is going to be the new norm, or rather it has become the norm. It is just that we have to stop saying that this is COVID-19 norm. This would be a new norm. As I said, it is already a norm and it will be a widely accepted norm. But yes, it will come with its own challenges. From an educational system, I think the challenges would be how do you engage your students? How do you still give that, the practical aspects of it, which you need to be in the college, so probably, or in the universities. So there would be challenges which the universities management, they need to think through how they can engage and leverage. So it has to be a mix of both. You cannot completely shift to a virtual world and disconnect the university field at all. So I feel there would be a good blend of both.
And Jayita, could you just name a few companies who are providing the virtual internships?
Well, I can be comfortably saying that in Vedanta we are doing it. I will have to do more due diligence to check which other companies are offering, but I'm sure there are many. You just have to start networking. Since students are asking, what I would definitely suggest them, if they have a list of companies they wanted to really work for, or they aspire to be a part of the companies, all they have to do is start networking. Go to LinkedIn, find somebody who's working there, and trust me, over LinkedIn, a lot of people, they are ready to help. All you have to say, I'm looking for an internship. Do you offer virtual internship? Is there anything that I can take up remotely, or can you please direct me in your company with whom I can get this answer from? Start connecting. This would be very learning skill for also all of you to know how to do networking. See, this is again a blend of it, depends on from which company to which company. If I take an example from your question of recruitment, right? So will recruitment be ever 100% automated? My answer is no. You cannot take out the human interface when you are hiring a candidate. Yes, even today, without even mentioning about the COVID-19 situation, there are a lot of large companies who today uses artificial intelligence to screen and shortlist candidates. But when it comes to interviews, at least the last round interview or at least the final few legs, there are a human interface. Yes, by human interface, I again mean not necessarily physically being present in the same location, same office, but using this kind of AI-made digitization platform, people are talking, and this is where human interface comes. So with regard to your question on recruitment, I think it would be a blend of it. The larger the organization, I think there would be a possibility of moving into more automation. Depend, and if it is a smaller organization, I'm sure it may not even demand to get into that kind of a mode. Diversity and inclusion. This is one topic for a lot of industries. Primarily because there has been a lot of studies which says that when you have a mixed group of employees, your productivity, your idea generation in the company for a particular project or anything that you do goes up really high. So yes, there is a lot of focus on bringing diversity and inclusion, but that does not mean a certain segment of our population will be neglected. So these are all job specific. So if a job requires a job role requires that we need a diversity and inclusion candidate, yes, the job will be given. But if a job requires that we need a different segment of employee, we will require that. So yes, the trend is going that, but would it replace everything? Maybe not. So in this current scenario, Roopa, the top 5 that comes to my mind is one, need to be courageous. Courageous enough to take disruptive decisions, which probably has never been the norm before.
Absolutely.
Second is very important for a senior leader is to communicate. So as you see, has been a lot of unrest because of this whole current situation. There are a lot of in the market. There is a lot of discussion about job cut, salary reduction. People are unsure what is going to happen. So it is very, very critical for the CEOs to communicate what is company planning for, how companies are more concerned about the safety of their employees. So the more the communication, the more it would be better in terms of an employee engagement. The third would be in this current situation is also to be empathetic. This is one skill. I would say traditionally everybody believed it's only HR leaders who need to be empathetic, but I do not really agree completely with that. Even the business leaders, our CEO, need to be empathetic, especially in this current situation. And personally, for the CEOs, it is not a very easy time. I mean, this is they need to make sure the business is performing well. They need to make sure cost is getting reduced, profits are maintaining. So it is not very easy. So it's personal attribute for a CEO, I think, is right now they need to be really calm and really need to be confident. Doesn't come easy, but this is the need of the hour. And I think another fifth one would be they need to be action oriented and also at the same time reflective. Because as I said, as all of us agree, this is the first time in the history we all have faced this kind of a situation, and all the CEOs, business leaders who are taking decisions on an ongoing basis, it is also time to sometime look back, reflect, did it work, did it not work, and change the course accordingly. See, my opinion is that the companies are not going to create remote jobs, but yes, companies will definitely look at what are the jobs for which employees do not have to come to office on an everyday basis. So they will definitely get into that kind of a mode. I'm sure all of you must have already heard TCS kind of been talking about how they can by 2025, if I'm not wrong, how they can use 75% of their population working from home. So I'm sure gradually all companies would start looking into it, but I do not personally think they will create jobs to accommodate remote ones, but they will shift the nature of the jobs to be based out of their home or working remotely. But all these things also brings out a lot of new dimension for managers, for organization, and also for employee. How do you continue to make sure you're productive? How the managers continue to make sure I know my employees, I have the rapport. How can I know each of my employees are motivated? So this will definitely throw a lot of challenges from a people side of it. Because end of the day, it's all people, irrespective of whichever industry we are talking about. We all are people, who human being at the end of the day. So this will definitely bring out a different set of challenges. Oh yeah, absolutely. I think this is a time wherein all of us, everybody, we need to be so careful about our physical and mental well-being. It can be very daunting sitting at home throughout the day because we are not used to it, right? So and as a human being, I think it's a human behavior. If we are sitting at home with our own will, then it's okay. But now we cannot go out because there is a restriction. So that really plays on our mind for sure. So yes, mentoring and coaching, it really helps a lot, because they kind of provide a situation or an environment wherein people can talk, they can feel safe. They know that I will not be judged. Even if I go, like for example, if I'm feeling very sad and if I know that I have a coach, I can just pick up the phone and say, I'm feeling very low today. And not necessarily I really would know why I'm feeling low, but just one fine day I'm not feeling, I'm like, if I give you my example, Roopa, from the time this lockdown has started, I'm stuck in my house by myself. So there are times when, I have not seen people other than video calls. So there are times it can get daunting. So having mentors, coaches with whom you can connect, you have the safe zone that yes, I will not be judged, I can say anything, it definitely helps. But I would suggest all the youngsters who are listening, when you choose your mentor or a coach, make sure they are moving you forward. It's not the other way around, because choosing the right mentor and a right coach is the key here. See, I think none of the industries, none of us are prepared for it, right? This just has hit us all from all of a sudden. But what I am seeing, all industries across, be it education or anything else, everybody is doing a fabulous job of coping up with it. So I was told by a colleague of mine that her daughter, who is just like 6 years, even for her school has now kept 1 hour of online virtual nursery rhyming classes. So I think this is just an example to show you that how even at that level schools are getting proactive to ensure that people are, or the students are engaged. To answer your question, Roopa, I think all educational institutes, they are really doing great. And if any educational institute believe that, they need to catch up, I think this is the time they need to start catching up, because we do not know how long this is going to happen. I personally hope it should come up. We should just come out of this situation as soon as possible. But make use of digitization. There are so many platforms like AirMeet, Zoom, tons of this like this. So make use of it, engage people. And this is also a time to teach the life skills part of it. In our education system, what I definitely feel is a miss today is the life skills. So the first thing that comes to my mind is relook at yourself. Is there any kind of subject that you feel that you need to have in-depth knowledge? Is there anything that as a student I hurried up because I had to complete my project, complete my assignment, study and then give my exam? So, and when you go for any job, this is what people look at. People like me or any other, technical or HR panel, we look at your in-depth understanding. Scoring is one part of academic score. The other part is how in-depth knowledge you have. So I think this is a very great opportunity for all of you to relook at what you are already doing. And is there anything that you need to revisit, learn a little bit more? The second part I would say is, of course, pursue something that's really any hobby that you really like to do, because that kinds of also gives a spark to our own mind. And it breaks the monotony. So pursue some hobby. And in this current situation, I personally would suggest all youngsters volunteer to contribute something to the society. I think this is a big crisis all of us are in. And it is a very good opportunity that we can volunteer and start contributing something to the society. Not necessarily we have to do big or you have to do something at national level. We can all start from the next lane that we live in. So this would be the three areas that I would suggest. See, the companies or the startups which has, I would say, the agility to change their business model as per the need of the hour, they will definitely be there. And this is what all startup or any companies, they need to do, irrespective of COVID-19 or not. You need to go with the trend, or you need to at least go with what is required. Currently in this situation, I think people need to relook at their business model. What is serving well for them? What is serving well for others? I mean, look at Zomato, Swiggy. I mean, they changed their business model, right? And they introduced those new business model. Now, all this while they used to only deliver food. Now they are also delivering grocery. Look at Swiggy. They have now who had thought? I have never thought that any day some company will think that, I've forgotten my laptop charger, so I will call up Swiggy and say, please get my laptop charger. So these are all innovative ways of working. So I'm sure if startups start brainstorming, coming up with new ideas, they are sure gonna stay. My only suggestion would be start interactive. Don't make it a monologue, because it's not a classroom, right? You can have you can read people's body language, or you can see who's sleeping and who's not sleeping, or who is attending or who's not attentive. So it is very important to have a dialogue. So my suggestion would be to all the faculties that adopt a methodology of delivering lectures, which is not a monologue, which is a dialogue. Ask students, give more participative assignments, ask students to come and present what they have learned. So it's more a collaborative learning rather than only one-way communication. See, this is unfortunate. This is happening, but let me tell you, this is not happening across the industries, right? So, if I really, I was just going through one of the very recent studies. Yes, there are major industries like hospitality, then your BFSI, aviation. These are some of the industries which has really, really taken a hit, including retail industry. But then there are also industries which are booming even in this growth, COVID-19 situation. There is a healthcare, there is R&D, there are other areas, I'm sure all of you know, wherein there is business happening. So don't get demotivated thinking the door is completely closed. Maybe the door is partially closed. You have to just go with the right set of mindset and figure it out for yourself. Which direction should I go in? And as I said, internship, like in our company, we have never done a virtual internship before. And when we have taken the interns with us, we have also never thought we will ask them to do a virtual internship. But this is the situation. People cannot move around. So we had an option. Should we just tell students that we are sorry, we cannot accommodate you, or we figure out something? So we figured out that we will give them project which they can do it from remote places. So I personally right now I've been interacting with 6 to 7 interns and reviewing them every now and then, giving them guidance every now and then, and making it happen. So my suggestion would be, don't get loaded with all those things that's happening. While there is an area, one part of the industry which has got hit, there are other areas which are also growing, or at least moving in the pace that it is happening. So focus on what you need. It is very easy to get diluted and very easy to get stressed up listening to the lot of negative stories. Like personally, I don't know what other fields, I have stopped watching news because it is very distressing for me. So I need to know what's happening. So I dedicate a little bit of time for myself, wherein I go through what's happening in the world. But I have stopped tuning to my TV and watch everything about COVID-19. It becomes because not necessarily what media projects all the time is the reality. Yeah, so my suggestion would be, don't get so stressed up on this. Focus on what you need to do. And yes, what you need is, you need a little bit of a plan. You need a little bit of a structure. You just cannot start going randomly. If you need a job, you figure it out. What are the companies that you would like to work for? How will you go about it? Most importantly, as a student or as somebody who's aspiring for getting a job, am I ready enough? Is my CV looking professional? If I get an opportunity to work in a company or go to the stage of interview, am I ready? What I need to do differently so that I get stand out in the interview. So look at yourself. Look at inwardly, prepare yourself. Use LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a fantastic source to connect with a lot of professionals. Yeah, thanks, Roopa. This is something very personal to my heart, these two questions that you have asked, because I've seen students really struggle with this.
Yeah.
Really bright students, young students, they really, really struggle. So I'll take one question at a time. The first one, how do you prepare yourself for an interview, right? If you get an interview opportunity with a corporate or anybody for that matter. First of all, please don't mug up your answers. Trust me, the person who is sitting on the other side of the table, they had years of experience and they meet a lot of students. It is very obvious. It becomes very obvious to the interviewer that this is not your answer. Either your placement committee has told you to answer this, or you have mugged up the answer and you are telling. I would not name the college that I had gone for a campus hire very recently, as in last year, not very recently, sometime around November, December. And I have met at least 45, 47 students. And Roopa, the unfortunate part was that out of those 45, 47 people, almost 40 plus, they had the same answer for all the questions, and they all were great. If I have to listen to them individually, they all were great. And after a point in time, me and my other panel members, we knew what was coming because we have been listening the same answers from morning. So this also gives us a very clear that yes, the college is good, very reputed college. So they prepare their students very well. But while you are doing it, it's absolutely great that you need to prepare. Maybe at times you need to mug up because sometimes you may not really remember the right words, the right thing. But don't lose your own essence. As an interviewer, the biggest thing that most of us look at is your authenticity. What you are saying, do you really believe in it? Right? So this is something very, very, very critical. Another part, I will say, it sounds very basic, but please dress up appropriately depending on which company you are appearing for. Like, for example, if you're appearing for a very traditional manufacturing company and if you decide to show up in casual, though first impression is not the last impression, but it will definitely carry a lot of weightage. You will be labeled, or it's all about perception, right? So the perception would be that you are casual. So depending on which company you go for, please represent yourself accordingly. While it is important to practice what you say, but please back up your answers with data. So any interviewer, and listen to me this very carefully, any interviewer, depending on whichever level you are in, they always look for the situation. What was the situation? What was the task? What was the action you did? And what is the result you have achieved? So in our world, we call this as a STAR model. So it is situation, task, action, and result. So whatever you write in your CV, you always, and some of your highlights that you would like to present yourself as your achievements or something that you really want to talk during the interview, always have that structure. That if I have been asked more in-depth question, do I have all of this? What was the situation? What was the task? What action did I take? And what was the result? And another part for all the youngsters, when you come for interviews, we always look at two parts. Are you what is your individuality? Do you have your own voice? Do you have your own opinion? So do not worry if your opinion is right or wrong. End of the day, it's your opinion. So don't get into those thought process. Should I say, shouldn't I say? If there is a question that has been asked, be confident and present your idea based on the data you have. Never say, I feel that way. Your feelings should be backed up with data. And another area that most of the companies also looked at, and I personally looked at, is your skill of collaboration. How well you collaborate in a group. Are you an individualistic person, or if given an option, you would also work very well in the team? So teamwork and collaboration is very, very, very important. So I would hold myself here because this is so close to my heart. I can go for a day talking about what all you need to do as an interview before you appear for interview. Coming to your second question, Roopa, when they are in the college, when they are in the corporate, what they really need to do. I think all of us, and including you, you need to create a brand for yourself. Now, when I say brand, I mean, if I have to, suppose, if tomorrow in my organization, if somebody has to ask, how do you describe Jayita? In 3 words. So my manager, my colleagues, my subordinates, my team members, they all will say based on the experiences I've given them, right? It's all about the individual experiences. So it is very important to create your own brand. So be more, do more than what has been asked for you. Be more attentive. Do not hesitate or shy away giving your own ideas, even though if it is wrong. This holds good even during the interview and even after that. Don't restrict yourself to this 9 to 5. If you know your office gets over at 5 o'clock, so I'm going. we still in India, in many companies, we still judge people with, are they willing to stretch? It may not be really the right way of doing it, but yes, unfortunately, this is how it is. There are still a lot of us. This is the first few symptoms we get whether the employee is ready to stretch. So be yourself, be authentic, hardworking. There is absolutely no substitute of hard work. I have heard a lot of statements nowadays that smart working is the best. Yes, you need to be smart. You cannot really do donkey's work, but you need to do hard working in order to hard working plus smart working in order to establish yourself in a company. Be crisp, which means you need to be concise and be confident. See, by soft skill, there are many parts to it, but the first point for students that will come to picture is about the communication, right? So you really need to work on your communication skill, and trust me, it is not only always about English, your fluency over English. It is about how confidently and how in a compelling way you can communicate or articulate your ideas to others. So communication is very, very, very key. Please practice what you need to say, but again, make sure that your delivery does not sound like mug up, right? It shouldn't be like you're reading from a book. It's like you're thinking. So for that, you need to practice. So the best advice that I will give you before you come to an interview, you please record your own self. Nowadays, every one of you have mobile. Just record yourself, introduce yourself and record, and then again watch it. Are you being concise? Are you being crisp enough? Are you able to give the message that you would like to give it to the interviewer? Or you are really going in rounds and not really telling the right message that you would like to give? So practice is very key. I would also suggest there is no harm asking your senior colleagues from college or your mentor or your teacher, parents, ask them to go through the video and give me feedback. Is it working for you? Is it not working for you? So this is something I would definitely suggest, that please practice before you come for any interview. And again, going back to what I had said earlier, whatever you write in your CV, please make sure you have a complete hold on the CV. Don't write things which you have not done. Don't write things which you feel this is a trend. If I write, I will get through it. Do not. Because of interviewers on the other side, they have seen the world little more than you, so they can easily find out when somebody is bluffing and when somebody is being authentic. So go with that flow of STAR: situation, task, action, result, and be very crisp and structured when you are presenting yourself. So I am a career and a leadership coach, and I am going to start, I am starting on my own on the whole leadership and career aspect. So what I help are in three buckets. One, for the senior leaders, the top executives. The other bucket is for the mid to senior levels. And the third bucket is the entry level. And I will talk more about the entry level because this is the relevant group here. So I do a lot of group coaching for people. Some of my programs are called as campus to corporate, which basically means that I have a group of people who log in, and there is a session that happens over a period of time. I tell them, take them through about what will make them successful in campus, from transitioning from a campus to a corporate job. The other part, what I do is how you can make yourself employable in the market, right? How do you find a job for yourself? So these are some of the areas from a coaching point of view that I do. And personally, Roopa, as I was mentioning to you before we started this, I come from a small town, in a very, very small town, if I can say. And I have an educational background from a tier 1 institute. And so personally, I'm very, very passionate about helping students who are from tier 2, 3 colleges and institutes, and give them the right support so that they can, in addition to their technical knowledge, which anyways they are gaining it, what are the other areas that will make them more employable in the organization, in the market? So I would ask you, what is that motivates you So, see, my take on it is if I am really interested in something, I really do not need an external push. Right? If I really like something, I would not really ask somebody to motivate me. So, yes, if you are talking about boredom, if you are talking about loss of attention, because sometimes it gets really daunting that you are sitting in front of your computer or laptop and then the things are going on, take frequent breaks, like every 15-20 minutes. Make sure you're walking up and down, you are drinking some water, or you are taking appropriate breaks so that your attention span is there. Otherwise, your question, if it is only about motivation, trust me, nothing in life can motivate you unless you are ready to motivate yourself. This is my personal belief. See, if the companies are deferring the joining, which is a good news, I would say that they are willing to take you and they are committing to the offer they have made. So, which means at this point in time, you got to be patient and make sure at least don't sit idle, don't spend time on watching Netflix and Amazon throughout the day. Make use of this time. No company will stop you to do any kind of internship or any kind of a projects with any other company during this time. So look for maybe within your own network anybody that can, and maybe you can volunteer. This is a very good time. You have the time, volunteer, learn some new skill. And if you know which job the company is going to offer, look at in that particular industry, is there some particular specific skill set that you can pick up, you can learn from all this variety of online courses that is available, so that you are ready. So when you are going there, and another way would be, touch base with your employer. Ask them that now that the job is being, the joining has been deferred, I wanted to utilize this time to learn something more about the company and the skill set. Please tell me which are the skill sets I need to start knowing so that I can also advance myself a bit. Ask for them. I'm very sure your HR or your company will be more than happy to tell you this. They will be, in fact, happy that the students are proactively doing it. And and then I also know of many companies who have deferred the joining. They are coming up with plans to engage with the students. How they can keep themselves motivated during the whole period. Unfortunate part is that yes, some companies I am aware too has withdrawn the offer, but my take on is that this is the reality. Accept it rather than feeling that why this has happened to me, because you're never gonna get an answer. What you need to tell yourself that the company has withdrawn offer not because of my own limitations, because even companies are struggling to sustain right now. So I need to start afresh. So of course it's a difficult situation, but this is the new reality. Accept it and then start moving forward. Start looking for jobs. If you are not getting a job, it takes time. I always say finding a job is like a dating process. You don't really get your perfect partner in the right go, right, in the first go. So it takes time, because the way you have criteria, organizations have criteria, and both should match. So take time, figure it out, invest in some skills that you can do it. There are a lot of I would say NGOs, freelancers, associate themselves. And if you are not very particular about salary, there would be many people who would be more than willing to give you projects. So then decide for yourself, do you need salary at this point in time, or even if I'm not getting salary, should I just grab the opportunity of gaining some projects? Okay, thanks, Shivangi. It's a very interesting question. So 3 leadership strategies. Well, I would rather call it little differently. I would say the 3 attributes that one should showcase before getting a job is one, a complete in-depth understanding of the subject that you are holding, for which you are applying for a job. Other part would be how aware you are in terms of what's happening in the market. Like, to give you an example, if you are applying for an HR job in recruitment, for example, if you tell your interviewer that I know these are all the things that is happening around the world in the recruitment space, trust me, you will already make an added an added advantage over other candidates. So knowing your subject well, doing some kind of a benchmark exercises about your own subject. And the third is be authentic. When you be authentic, be more confident. I'm giving you more than three. Be more confident, be more concise. And as I had mentioned earlier, when you are in the interview, whatever you have written in your CV, make sure they are backed up by, in the similar way, you have an answer. If somebody is trying to get into in depth of those statements that you have written in your CV, you have all the answers ready. No, first of all, thank you so much for listening. My only suggestion would be, this is a difficult time, I understand. Don't get derailed because of all the news that you are happening. You are listening. Yes, there is one part things are not working fine. There are also other parts things are moving forward. Focus on yourself. Have a very clear mindset, and be safe and take care of yourself. That's about it.
Thanks once again, Jayita. It's a lovely session. Thank you
So much.